Hey, good evening. It's January 8th, December, Saturday afternoon, or evening now almost. Thanks so much for being here. I want to wrap up at least this week's discussions about faith, talking about Moses. We'll come back to chapter 11 sometime next week. But there's a statement made about Moses that is just a short phrase about how he was able to persevere and endure. And it said, because he saw him who was invisible. This man of Moses, a man of great power and strength, a sophisticated man. The writer of Hebrews is referencing the Moses that Stephen speaks about in chapter 7 of Acts. Stephen says this about Moses. At that time Moses was born. He was no ordinary man, no ordinary child. For 3 months he was carried and for 3 months he was cared for in his father's house. When he was placed outside, Pharaoh's daughter took him and brought him up as her own son. Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was powerful in speech and action. He thought that he could lead the people out, but they rejected him. Egyptians rejected him. So he's in the wilderness in Midian for 40 years. God calls him back. And we have this picture in Exodus of Moses saying, no, I'm not able. But that's a very intimate picture between Moses and God. The public picture is the one that the writer of Hebrews shows for us and what Stephen shows us in Acts. A powerful man, a well-educated man. And even then, the Israelites would turn from him. The Egyptians would turn from him. How did he persevere with all the grief and the hassle and all the rest of that? It's because he saw him who was invisible. How do we do that? We do it through the Word of God. It's why it's so important that we get the urgency of learning this book, not what people tell you about the book. This book is about a relationship with God. It's not about a list of rules and regulations and all that garbage. Rules pull us away from God. When we grasp the grace of God, there will be an obedience there that can't be grasped any other way. It'll be a gentle obedience, an obedience that calls us to Him, where we have the right perspective. The thumbnail tonight is a picture of the moon, and half of it is a half moon. So one half we see the beautiful, incredible detail that's there. The other half is darkness, but it's there. Just because I don't see it right there doesn't mean it's not there. Just because I don't see visibly God doesn't mean He's not there. He's there. And Moses was able to see Him who was invisible because he trusted in the Word of God. And we have so much more of the Word of God now. Don't let God be reduced to rules and regulations and a whole bunch of crazy details about if you do this, you won't please God. If you do this, you will please God. But if you do the other thing, you might make everybody mad. You see, that kind of stuff, those false rules, they pull us away from the beauty of trusting God. Moses trusted God because he saw Him who's invisible. He had the strength to persevere because he saw Him who was invisible. Paul tells us to fix our eyes on what we cannot see. How do we do that? We come to love this book and see it not as a list of rules and regulations, but as a relationship with the one who is alive, with the one who is real, with the one who can see us through this mess of life that we have to go through. And life is messy. It's incredibly messy. There's drama to life, but the drama in knowing God is even bigger. So what I'm pleading for this night as we end this week Let's ask God to give us hearts to see him who is invisible, to study this word, to not let people manipulate us, to not give us proof text. Let's stop listening to little sound bites of a sentence and then they tell us how to control us, our lives. That's not what the Bible's about. The Bible's about the beauty and the wonder and the freedom of knowing God. It's the double-edged sword of the Spirit that brings life, not despair, not rules. That's why God tells the folks in Isaiah, through Isaiah, tells the Jews at that time, you come at me with things you've learned, things memorized, you know by rote, but your hearts are far from me. You see, if we see him who is real, we see him who is invisible, we're not about rules and regulations. We're about the one who gives us life. And that's what I want to leave you with this night. God would help us to see the beauty of living life, not by somebody else's rules, but understand that Jesus Christ has made it possible for us to come to God in our mess and know healing and be whole, be complete. That, brothers and sisters, is beauty. And that's what I want to leave you with this night. Love your feedback, your comments. It's so encouraging to me. Thank you for that. Embrace this word. Learn it as a relationship, not as rules. Check us out every day, talk247.com. Turn on podcast notifications. Videos will come right to you. Lord willing, have a great day tomorrow, and we'll see you, Lord willing, on Monday morning.